I'm joined by the Chief Executive of the Climate Institute, John Connor. Thanks for your time. You've been doing these polls for about 5 years now. Most people still believe climate change is occurring, but fewer accept it's caused by human activity. Is that right? What do you put that down to?
Well, yes, we're seeing around two-thirds still think climate change is real, and around two-thirds that humans have got a role in that now.
But not the central role.
The portion of that say humans are the main cause has actually dropped over time.
And what is it now?
It's around 20% of Australians say it's the main cause.
But 20% say it's the main cause of climate change.
49% say it's a mixture of human and natural cycles as well. So that, human agency there, we've still got two-thirds, but that's diminished. Now, what we also find is that what's been quite a toxic political debate, and we've also had a lot of countering voices, that's been both of those have been driving that. And so people have been confused by the differing opinions.
But clearly those people, and this does include the Climate Institute as well, who are trying to convince people that climate change is man-made, that message isn't getting across.
No, it's been. I think what this year's research shows particularly is that this has been a heavily politicised space over the last year, but in the last 5 years, there's been a lot of scares around the cost of living, and these things have taken over. We knew this was always going to be the choke point, one of the low points, just as you get some of these reforms in. So I was keen to do that now to make sure we've got that benchmarked as we go on for the years ahead.
The whole basis for doing something, anything, be it a carbon tax or a direct action plan, is whether you think climate change is happening and whether it's man-made. Now, if only 20% think that that human activity is the main cause of climate change, that's a real worry.
Well, it's 69%. You need to add that 49%. So it's actually a question about how that moves across that. That number is still there. But yes, it's the amount that think climate change is real is important. But it's also volatile. I mean, what's going on in the US right now with those terrible droughts and the fires over there, we've seen belief that climate change is happening move from 52 to 70% in a couple of years.
To natural disasters.
So people's opinions do change with some of these things. At the moment, we've had this, snowstorm, if I can use a bad expression, of the political fight that's actually obscured and confused, and we've probably gone backwards because of that.
Fewer people say they're concerned about climate change, but when you ask them about specifics, whether it's damage to the Great Barrier Reef, hurting our food production, our water resources, that number does rise dramatically. They are worried about the specifics. What does that tell you about how the government perhaps should be selling this issue and its carbon tax?
Yeah, I think what this research shows is that there's an underlying resilience. So people, when they're asked about concern about climate change as an abstract concept, that's gone down. But when they're asked about the impacts on plants and animals, on the Great Barrier Reef, on food and water security, on pollution, we're still talking about 3/4, even almost up to 80% there of Australians concerned about these things. That, I think, points to underlying resilience, as does the fact that more than two-thirds are still looking to the federal government for a leading role in climate change. Frankly, I was astounded by that after this debate, and only 11% saying no action.
But they still want Australia to play a leading role.
Well, no, this is actually, we asked about the players in the Australian economy there, the federal government, the state governments, business and others, and so it's actually not necessarily in that international sense.
And the media is part of that as well, which didn't get a good rap.
And the media, yes, I'm sad to say, actually got the worst rap of all when we actually netted out approval ratings there. They weren't seen as having to have a leading role, but most people thought they should play some role and thought they've been doing very badly in that, frankly, David.
Pretty badly.
Yeah.
There is some scepticism about the opposition's alternative too.
Yeah, it's interesting that when we asked the credibility of their plans, the government's got twice the credibility of the coalition, but we're talking 28% versus 14%. And I think, interestingly, when asked should they repeal and would they repeal the carbon laws, less than half said 48% they should and 44% said they would, and it's actually quite soft as well. People are thoroughly disenchanted with the political system and with the political players right now. That's very clear. But I think what's the underlying message here is there's quite resilience, people expecting action, and sadly, this is not going to go away, and particularly if you look at the global physics, this is a physics problem, not a political problem. It's going to keep re-emerging, and I think that's the cautionary tale, the main message for the political players.
John Connor from the Climate Institute, good to talk to you. Thanks for that.
Thank you.